Right, and welcome back to the podcast, Stephen Howson podcast. Today's guest is Danny Rae, HYROX champion, UK champion, right?
I was until about 3 weeks ago in Birmingham. I was the open solo record holder. I held that for just under a year.
You've done, and we're going to get into HYROX a little bit deeper. I'm going to start with the military side of stuff. Danny's in the process of transitioning from military life to becoming a civilian/professional HYROX athlete. Not a career that even existed a couple of years ago, is it?
No, I know. The rise of HYROX has been crazy. And it's going to be one of a few things that I'm going to commit to full time when I fully transition out.
So you are in the process at the moment of transitioning from the military. You had a SAS selection attempt. What was the driver in your decision to leave? Because I know you've just done a video recently where you said you're making the decision to leave while you still love it. So why leave?
I was a lifer. I was going to do a full career in the army, just like my old man. There wasn't a single time where I thought, you know what, I'm going to do 12 years and get out and pursue something new. When I got married to Zoe, and the army became busier and I started to see less of Zoe, that's when I started to think bigger picture and future, you know, family, kids, commuting up and down the motorway every weekend. The career that I'd had up to that point, which I am more than happy with and proud of. I know there's a bit of a saying that resonates, you should leave a party while you're still having fun. And I was having a great time and I wanted to leave it at that before it started to not become a great time, you know, missing out on things, big key moments in life. So around the time of us getting married, I went on a posting to try and reignite that spark, see if a bit of something different, a bit of flexibility in the role would help. But ultimately, I stayed with the original thought of leaving.
What was the spark to leave? Was it that literally just...
Yeah, so we got married. I got posted to a job which is down in Warminster, teaching the next generation of light cavalry commanders, so all the crew commanders and troop leaders that come through. I was teaching them basically, so a really fulfilling job, which I thought would sort of make me fall in love with it a bit more again, because I've always been super keen about the soldiering aspect of it, and the leadership side of things. And then it didn't give me what I was expecting in terms of like flexibility. I was still commuting up and down the motorway each weekend. And then I also had a vision of a different life outside of the army, which I didn't know existed, you know, from like a social standpoint and from like a business standpoint with the Red On team, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. And also like from an athletic standpoint. I'm doing a sport which at the minute I would say I'm good at. I'm nowhere near where I want to be at in the sport, but there's so much more room for growth. And I think I'd be selling myself short to not exploit multiple different avenues in life outside of the army.
How did the army support or hold back your aspirations with HYROX? Because the army, people, a lot of time people think, oh, but the army love that. And sometimes they do. But sometimes the job comes first, right? So was there any duality with that, or was it full send support?
I don't think people really realise like the sort of the gravity around it. I think to most people it's just another sport. It's not recognised in the army. I think that might change soon.
Surely. I mean, I've never seen a sport more suited to the military than HYROX.
So transferable. But I know that triathlon have taken HYROX under their wing, and the army recognises triathlon. So maybe there's an avenue there. But no one was really holding me back. I don't think they really understood it. There's another elite athlete who's currently serving, Harry Sutherland, and he's away. You know, he's missing out on big elite majors from it. So at the minute, it's not at a point where they're sort of pushing people to go for it, but they're not, in the same breath, they're not really holding people back too much. I think it depends what unit you're in. I know some units are funding people to go to countries and race because they recognise, you know, how good it is.
See, the army should be celebrating that.
Yeah.
If they are able to get people cut away and go and represent the military to do that, I should know that. Mm-hmm. That should be rammed down my throat that they're doing that from a recruitment point of view.
100%. If you look at the people that go and do HYROX, it's lots of young, fit people. You know, I think they're going to have around 1.1 million people take part in HYROX this year. And of the UK, I'll guarantee that a big percentage of that. Do you think the amount of people in the UK that the army could tap into? Yeah, so many people are doing it.
Well, I was thinking this. So I did my first HYROX last month and I did it injured. So I did it in the blistering time of 2 hours, 11 minutes.
Class. Where did you do that at?
Birmingham.
Nice.
So I pulled my calf on the Saturday beforehand and I thought, I can carry on and I can probably go and get some learning done on the stations and see what the pacing's like on the stations, and I'll just walk, which I did. So it took me 79 minutes on the run section. So I can drop 40. I'm in Manchester. I've got a ticket. I've actually got a ticket for London, which I'm not going to be fit enough for. So I'm going to drop London. I'm going to do Manchester. I can take 40 minutes off that time just by jogging.
Yeah.
But as I was walking around, and I was literally walking around, I was thinking I should be seeing. I was looking at the back of t-shirts and I'm seeing like, Birmingham hybrid, whatever. And I'm thinking I should be seeing 2 Yorks, 3 para, whatever. And I'm thinking it was a Wednesday as well. So I'm thinking the Army should be putting people on sports afternoons to come to this sort of stuff because it's a brilliant thing.
100%. There are so many, like as well, there's so many fit people in the military that are just not even tapped into, don't even know what HYROX is yet. Can you imagine like the amount of potential elite 15 athletes are just sat there not realizing what the sport is? And, it's the fastest growing sport in the world, and what a platform that would be for the military just to get someone through the door into the elite rankings, at least a few people anyway.
Well, there's got to be blokes that are just squirreled away as a PTI in random units all over. The Army have just spent possibly 7 figures to sponsor the Premier League. I don't know to what end. I don't know what the KPIs are for that. I don't know how they're transferring that into people walking through the door in careers offices. But if they'd have sponsored a HYROX event and put a HYROX event on at Horse Guards, something like that, and you had a British Army or even an armed forces, so you had the Navy and the Marines and all that involved, and you invited everybody down for one day and everyone competed in their unit t-shirts, can you imagine what that would do for recruitment? And I bet you would get some serious times on there as well, wouldn't you?
That'd be so cool. When I go and compete in Europe, especially in the Netherlands, I think maybe France as well, they have an Army stand. You walk around the the exhibition hall, and they've got a proper setup, weapon systems, equipment, people giving briefs, recruitment, but that's not yet reciprocated in the UK just yet.
I feel that's a massive missed opportunity because, like I said, people that are already into HYROX are already doing unit PT in a big way.
I'm not sure what the current recruitment scheme is at the minute. I think it was called Engaged Soldier. I can't remember, but they're the sort of events that we need to be seeing the Army attend. I don't know what they're doing at the minute to actively recruit. Everyone's so busy. The Army is such a busy place at the minute. But yeah, these big events where there's thousands of people walking through the door that are young, fit and healthy, that's the space.
So go back to what first sparked your interest in this? Because you've only been doing it a short amount of time to get to the top the way you have done.
Yeah, so my wife knew someone that was competing at the World Champs in Manchester back in 2023.
It's not a good goal at all.
I'd never heard of it. I just come back from Kenya, so I was feeling quite fit, especially with running. And I started to get a bit more of a passion for fitness again. I attend this event, and as you know, it's great atmosphere, and also very transferable from what we do in the military. And I was like, this is literally what we do on a PT class. You run, do a station, get told the last person's going to go again, so you run even harder, all this good stuff. And I got FOMO basically. And at that event in Manchester, I booked my first race with my wife Zoe, and we raced about a month after or 2 months after in Poland. And then,
so did you just go and watch?
Yeah, I just went to watch, and I was just like, "This is crazy. This is so good." I love the combination of running in the stations. I'd been doing it for years on PT without realizing.
So you watched Manchester in literally 2 years ago, and then booked. Where was the first event you did?
Warsaw, mixed doubles for the first one
with the missus.
Yeah,
what was that like?
Well, it was the first time I'd ever done it, so we set off quite cautious.
Had she done it as well? No, so she'd signed up as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we just became absolute HYROX fanatics from that point. We love traveling. We love to go around little places in Europe, and we also like going to the gym, training together. So it was like 2 worlds collided, and it was a perfect time. It was a perfect thing for us to spend time together on our weekends. After I'd been at work all week, get on a flight somewhere, go do a HYROX, come home.
And where did you come in what sort of time did you get in your first one?
So my first solo, I got 103 in the open division.
What? That's outrageous. That people are going years to get, sub 1 hour 10, aren't they?
Yeah.
You find it easy then to get that time?
Do you know what? Because it was the unknown for me, I set off quite cautiously, like really steady on the runs, and I grew into it and it felt quite good. And then because I had done that, fast forwards probably 3 weeks, I then raced in Birmingham and did a 107. I did 4 minutes in the space of a couple of weeks because I had a bit of confidence. I was like, right, I'm going to try and get under an hour. Went off too quick, and then found out the hard way after about 2 stations on the sleds. I then went and done pro a few weeks after that, 118, so a completely different ball game.
That's the different weights on the sled. And
yeah.
So what are the differences between pro and open?
So open sleds is a 50 kilo difference. So for the men's open, it's 150. For the pro, it's 200. I think it's technically 152 and 202, but just to round it up. And then you got
a lot in it.
Yeah, it does. And it's obviously the sport is standardized. It's the same carpet, it's the same sleds everywhere. But depending on what's underneath the carpet can impact what the sleds are doing. You know, you go some places, it glides. Some places, it's like treacle.
Yeah, I found that on the lunges. I was shocked at how thin the carpet was. My knees were murdering after about 3 lunges. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. I raced one weekend in Vienna and I'd done 3 races that weekend. I'd done a solo, it was where I got my British record. And then done a relay that evening. I had to do lunges. And then I had doubles the next day. We got another British record for the men's doubles.
So what is your PR in this at the moment? Solo
open is 54.12. And then solo pro is 57.16.
What's the best time you've done? You've done a 50-minute one, haven't you?
49 in the open doubles, and then a 50.35 in the pro doubles, which was when me and my partner Liam became the under 30 world champs this year.
With the 49?
With the 50.35, yeah.
Mate, I can't even fathom how fast that is. What are you spending in the rocks on? About 4 seconds?
Oh, it's all on the running. It's all on the running. Yeah. The quicker you are at those runs, obviously, you know, there's the stations as well, but the running just facilitates everything. That is where you really get the time down.
I genuinely can't fathom a 50. Now, what's the world record?
In the individual, it is 53.12, I want to say, which was recently set by Ronkovic in Hamburg.
And I'm not actually that far off that then.
Yeah, that 4 minutes that I'm off, that is, you know, and I always say it to people, it's a sport for years, and there's people that are going to crack that in the next 12 months, you know, the amount of volume that they've been putting in and training. But I think for someone like me, like, it's going to be years of consistency compounded to get down to those levels, and it is all in being able to hold those runs at such a fast intensity. Because you look at the stations, they're not wildly different. You know, I've had some great races. More notable for me was Cardiff. I raced a really good race. My stations were excellent, and I paced the runs really well. But if I can take, you know, 20 seconds off per kilometre, you know, that's going to be massive for me.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Minute to take off in it. Yeah, the pace that you're going around in that, I mean, you're talking about that being a world record. Can you draw a line from where you are now to actually hitting a world record?
Years, I think. Years of
the fact that you even nod at that is mental, to be honest. It's
just years of, like, you know, I'm 30 now. You know, these athletes that are hitting world records now have been doing the sport for 8 years. When the sport started, I think 9 years ago, they've got all this years of specific targeted training at that. And there's a lot of people that are just coming into it now. And there's people that are coming into it now or have been coming into it the last couple of years that are running 55s and 54s. Like a 55-minute is like the new 57. I ran a 57 in Cardiff, and now I don't even care about that now because it's irrelevant, because the fast times are now 55. And to bridge that gap so soon would be me taking like 2 minutes off my 10K time, which at the minute is around 35 minutes, and I need to be running it in 33 minutes.
That's blistering, isn't it?
Yeah.
My days. All right, let's roll it back a little bit. Let's go back to the military, because obviously the foundation for how you get in these sort of times and this work that you're doing now at HYROX through the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about selection.
Yeah.
So when did you go for selection?
I went for my first attempt in 2017, and I was 21 years old.
Wow, that is young.
Yeah. I got to my regiment, and I knew after about 18 months, you get the recruitment briefs, and I knew pretty early on that that's what I wanted to go and do. So I went when I was 17, 2 red cards on the aptitude phase on test week. So I had a lot to learn from that, like stupid things like putting brand new boots on the first day on the 8 miler my feet were in bits for the whole time. The whole time I was there,
So let's roll back. Just give the context for the audience a little bit. So, UK Special Forces selection, aptitude phase, 4 weeks.
3 weeks, 3 weeks.
I've been beasted up and down Brecon and the Elan Valley.
Yeah.
Carrying progressively heavier weight, doing progressively longer distances, in progressively worse weather, usually.
Yeah.
I don't know how they managed to book the weather, but they managed to make sure that every day gets worse for you.
It literally says in extreme weather conditions, we're not going to stop the marches, even if it's 35, 40 degrees, and likewise, even if it's -10.
Yeah.
And the Brecon Beacons, because of where it's situated in Wales and it's in a valley, it traps all the heat. So it's either really, really hot, and in the winter, it's really extreme and really cold.
Yeah, so there's a lot of thought about do the summer one versus the winter one, but if you do manage to make it all the way through, your combat survival phase will be in the flip side.
Yeah.
So there's no better or worse way to do it. It's just going to suck either way, isn't it?
100%.
So if you get a red card... So 21, you was obviously in good physical shape.
Do you know what it was, right? I was actually really fit, and I was fit enough to pass aptitude, mentally tough enough as well, which is the most important bit, and I was ready to do it. There was a pre-selection carder, and it was like 3 weeks, and I was coming in the top 5 on some of these marches as a young lad. They then give you 4 weeks off, and I was 21 years old, and you give a 21-year-old 4 weeks off. I think I played FIFA and Battlefield in 4 weeks. And I used to follow the advice of people. They're like, just put a bit of weight on. Make sure you've got a bit of weight to burn.
Oh, you need tab to flap.
Yeah. Yeah. Mass moves mass. Make sure you rest yourselves.
It's a lot of bollocks.
You want to be you want to be peaking when you get to test week and all this sort of stuff. So I think I did one run in 4 weeks. I bought a brand new set of Altberg sneakers because I just got a bit of money as a young trooper, and didn't have much time to break him in apart from an 8 miler on day one, and I hadn't taken my feet up, just stupid stuff like that. So I really learnt the hard way. Got 2 red cards, and then went back a year later. And the hills, fine.
Smoke the hills on the second go.
Yes, absolutely fine.
What do you start with, numbers wise?
250, and we lost a lot because there was D&V, to be fair, and it was stupidly hot. Really, really hot. It was in 2018. I think we finished with like 42.
That's not a bad number going to the jungle, that is.
Great numbers, and there wasn't many that were going for Hereford, which is what I was going for. I think of the 42, I think maybe 15 were going for Hereford, and I was like, I'm young, I'm 21 years old, just keep my head down and get through it. And then I got D&V before going to the jungle, which I had to own up about. I was driving down to Hereford with a bin bag over my steering wheel, spewing into it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I went straight to the training officer, said I've got D&V. And then I didn't think anything would come of it. I just wanted to let him know. And then the doctor was like, you cannot fly with those symptoms. So that put me back even more. And I had to come back 6 months later.
Oh, so your aptitude phase pass sort of held? I've never heard about that.
It did. It held in terms of I had to go back and do only 2 weeks of aptitude. So I didn't have to do test weeks. So they gave me retread for that, which was great. So yeah, we're talking like a 2-year process now. I went to the jungle when I was 23 in 2019. I think we went with 46 and we left with 41 after the trees.
Wow.
Great numbers. You normally lose I think the rate at which you lose people in the trees is quite high, but yeah.
My mate went with 80 to the jungle and they were like, we ain't got a bed space for you lot. So I think they manufactured a bit of a rough sort of opening week till they got it down to about 40 and then they cracked on with what they planned.
A few hard beach runs and stuff.
Yeah, so whatever they did enough to thin the herd a little bit. It's interesting, isn't it? Because sometimes they'll probably take 8 to the jungle and be happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if they took 80, I don't know, must have just been absolutely flawless weather in Brecon, which, it did what it did. So where did you end up failing?
After the jungle, so I got a stand-up where they, you fly back to Heathrow, drive you straight back to the lines, and then you get off the bus, they read out the list of names. That's it.
Did he give you the reasons?
Yeah, so the train officer picked up a piece of paper and he said the margin between you passing and failing was the thickness of this paper. He said it was that close. And I was a bit like, oh, okay. He said you just looked a little bit too fatigued towards the end. We need you to go and do junior Brecon and then come back. Ultimately, I just never hit that quality line, which is what they're after. But I never left the room despondent. I was like, oh, great. So I just need to go and do juniors and I'll come back on selection and I'll smash it. But I was a Lance Corporal, 23 years old with no experience against a cohort of 42 people that got through the trees. And a lot of them had vast amounts of experience, and they didn't have to go and do career courses like juniors because they were already qualified. Whereas someone like me, that's going to take, time. I'd have to be sent away to go and do different courses. So I fully understood that, and went and did the courses.
But then in the process of doing that, decided not to go back.
Yeah. So I did the courses. I did 2 courses actually. I did junior Brecon, and then I went straight from that into the light close recce course. And what I learned when I was in the jungle was the people that had these courses and did well at these courses were like, everyone pulled on them, and they all ended up being successful. So I wanted to make sure that I had enough credibility going back, because I had 0 credibility the first time. People didn't even know what my regiment done. They thought I was still on tanks. I spent most of the time on my feet being a light dragoon, but we do operate off Jackal. So I made sure that I got all the course I needed to do. And then COVID happened. And then there was a lot of uncertainty around selection. So instead of waiting around for some clarification, I went on tour with my squadron to Poland. And then when I came back from Poland, I had another career course, and then I met Zoe. So there was a series of events which happened, which delayed me going back after doing the courses they wanted me to do. And then meeting Zoe, my wife, changed everything.
So let's fast forward a little bit. We had Mike Chadwick in, one of our first podcasts that we did.
Yeah.
And we didn't know at the time, and I didn't know at the time that we invited you to come on the podcast, that was what you was leaving to go and do, to go work at Red On. So he's building like a little bit of an absolute A-team of fitness coaches, right? At what point did you get approached to go work with Mike?
I would say Mike reached out to me last year, so probably about a year ago, to come in for some testing. I just raced in London and got quite a respectable pro time, and had a few, I just had a few followers on Instagram, so he probably came across me under my military career. So he invited me for testing, and from there we kind of got talking. And then probably a few months after that, he approached me about working with Red On. So yes, I'd say it's probably been close to a year in the making.
And what is your specific role at Red On? What are you doing?
So first and foremost, as a coach, but maybe sort of primarily / secondary is the event space. So that's the space where we're really trying to grow. We recently ran a backyard ultra in May, which was a great success. August. And
by the way, the guy that won that, is he real?
Akil. Oh no, what a weapon, what a beast.
Please tell the people, because I don't know the exact numbers of what he's just ran.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound real, right? You might have to repeat this 2 or 3 times.
So Akil ran for, I want to say, 2.5 days, and he ran 166 miles, I want to say. Absolute machine. And I think the great story about that was he was about to ring the bell, and his mate pulled up in his car as Akil was picking up the bell. This is a story I've been told. And he was like, "What are you doing? Put that bell down. I've just driven 2 hours to come and watch you. You're going back out for another lap." And he ended up winning it.
At what point was he going to cave in there?
I don't think it was too long after 100 miles,
I think that was a big milestone for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
100 mile mark.
Yeah.
By the way, when did running 100 miles become such a normal kind of thing? Because it seems like that's very frequently done now, isn't it?
Around the same loop over and over again, yeah.
Yeah, insane. So, obviously you're going to be doing coaching in terms of the event space. So that's just running, putting events on, competing in those events. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
So you know what it's like, especially with the other coaches in the Red On team going into the PT core, it's kind of like their bread and butter. They can wake up tomorrow and run a really good event. And I think we in the military, we assume that knowledge that everyone can do that. They can logistically support an event that's going to flow from start to finish because it's been rehearsed and it's been nitpicked to the point where, nothing's going to go wrong. I think that's what makes us slightly niche in that we will make sure it flows perfectly from start to finish. Whatever the event is. So we're going to be running things like HYROX simulations. We'd love to run training camps down the line. That's something that I would really love to do.
Training camps for HYROX?
Yeah, anything really. Like a fitness camp. I've got this we went to all these crazy places in the army. I always think that this would be so good to bring some people out and train. Like Kenya, how amazing that would be.
Well, Kenya, especially with the sort of expertise they have in running, long distance, middle distance running, because I know that they do run training camps out there. You can go for a couple of grand, you can go and spend a couple of weeks out there, can't you?
Yeah, and it's at altitude as well, which is great. And yeah, things like the Backyard Ultra next year. We've got a few in the pipeline. So that's the space we want to really, really grow.
That's exciting. And that's it, obviously, because 2025 lives and breathes on this, that's got media angles and all the rest of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else on top of the Backyard Ultras then?
At the moment, the Backyard Ultras are the thing that's and the gym that we've got. So we've got a gym in Middlewich, which is the UK's first and only real dedicated HYROX simulation space.
I saw the pictures you put on socials from inside there. It looks mega, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's great. And that's another thing that's really important is we want it to look good. We want people to go in there and want to host a seminar for their athletes, or they want to go and create a bit of content. They want to do a photo shoot for their new product. We want the space to look good, so people want to come in there and train. And we also want, the atmosphere to be in there good.
Yeah, Joe, I'm going to have to come and book it because we've been talking about making some content at the moment. I'm at a Pure Gym.
Yeah.
Although I'm at Urban Reform in town. I don't know if you're aware.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I heard about that.
It's got a pretty good reputation, I think, Urban Reform.
Yeah.
Which is a relatively good-looking gym. But where I do most of my training is on my own. It's at a Pure Gym, and it's the least aesthetic looking gym it could be. I mean, apart from Amy, who was rocking those colours yesterday for no reason, who picked those colours and thought that's going to look good? You can't make anything in there look good, can you? But yeah, the stuff that you're building with Red On does look absolutely mega, doesn't it? So what does success look like in year one for you then? Transitioning from the army to Red On, what are you going to get to the end of 2026 and go, nailed that?
I think a fully fledged gym. We've obviously just opened up in Middlewich, and we're starting to create a bit of a community. We've ran a couple of sessions Wednesdays and Fridays. We're now starting to expand on that and build on that, and we want it to be a point where people are logging on to Team Up at midnight when the session's refreshed to get booked on straight away. Like, that's where we want to be. People will do anything to come and train in that space and be a part of that community. I think that's what success will look like in a year's time. In a few years' time, maybe there's a few Red On gyms dotted around with their own little communities. But yeah, baby steps for that, definitely.
Is it a gym that anyone can go to, or is it keeping it to sort of elite athletes at the minute?
Anyone. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're an elite athlete and you want to come and do a simulation on the proper kit, or if you're brand new to the sport and you want to come and take part in a session. We post the links on Red On socials. People can go on there, see what's available, and book onto a class.
Mike was talking about doing some of the testing. Is it glucose testing and stuff like that you guys have been doing?
Yeah, so Mike and Ash, they're like the SMEs. They're the subject matter experts for that space, and Ash is all over it. There's various tests that they're doing, and he's also like designing to see what are the key metrics from competing in HYROX and training for HYROX, and what can we learn? We know about lactate threshold, we know about VO2 max, but what else is there? And I think that's the sort of thing that Ash is developing over at Red On Liverpool.
You got a few athletes in a similar sort of ranking to yourself there?
Within the Red On team, as in athlete-wise, yes. The race team's huge, and there's so many people that are coached by Red On, but there's definitely a few people like me that are on the fringes of the elites.
So what I'm getting at is, like, who are you training with at the moment that you're looking at and going, fuck's sake, like, I got to get to that level? Or is there anyone?
My doubles partner.
Right.
Yeah, my doubles partner. Liam, who I won Chicago with and recently raced in Hamburg. I know for me, like I said at the start, bridging that gap is the running, because I know my station work is good. It can obviously get loads better. But I always look at the people that are running ridiculous 10K times, and they're posting it on their Instagram on a Sunday, just taking part in this local 10K, 33:20 I got. And I'm like, I'm nowhere near that.
I'm trying to break 40. And I'd be very happy when I do break 40.
Yeah.
But people are running low 30s, can go home.
Yeah.
Get some mates.
Talking whilst doing it. Man, having a full-blown conversation with a camera filming, and I'm like, come on. I can't even run that for 2K.
Yeah, if I put the treadmill on it on a speed that will run a 3K, a 3-minute K, I am basically sprinting to do that. And I might have 1 in me, I might have 2 in me. I do not have 3 to 10 in me to be able to run at that pace for a long time. That's insane, that is. And yeah, and talking while you're doing it.
Yeah.
That's insane, that is.
Yeah.
How far off Liam are you?
So Liam's average is low 56. My average is 57.16. So I was like 28th in the world about 2 months ago, and now I'm not even in the top 40.
Wow.
Because the levels this season have gone up, and I'm yet to race properly this season. Yeah, once I get my 10K time or half marathon time down, and I can run these paces without absolutely killing myself, that's when I'll be able to bridge the gap.
Is that your focus for training? Like, you're waking up every single day going, got to improve the run, got to improve the run.
That's the bit that's playing on my mind mostly. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not able to put that into practice because I've been nursing an injury since the Backyard Ultra in August for the last 2 months, which has meant that I've got a bit of a chronic hamstring problem. So
I saw you taping up your day.
yeah, it's honestly, I'm at my wit's end with it. And I didn't realize you always dread the day you're going to get injured, but I didn't realize how much it actually impacts you mentally. Watching other people progress, post all these great times, and I'm there, and I can't. I was walking down the street to do this with you today, and I've got pain in my knee. I'm like, yeah.
Once you start getting one, I've spent most of 2025 with a calf injury. I did it doing the Manchester 10K. And then we went to Atlanta. You know Curry from Band of Brothers?
Yeah.
I'm in Atlanta, I'm running Curry, and about a mile in, my calf went, well, I'm finishing it, and I'm not going to not do it. Just about recovered from that, got about 20 runs in or so, and it pinged again just before I did the HYROX last month. And I'm literally just spending rehab, hey, it's fine, and it goes again.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you feel in your knee, it's going to be from this thing, you've compensated, now this thing's going to go.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. And you're right, the mental side of that, dealing with an injury is the worst part, because obviously, you know, lads, we're impulsive, we're in pretty good nick, all we want to do is send it.
Yeah.
You see someone else sending it. I can't imagine what it's like at Red On as well. There must be, I bet the WhatsApp group for that is horrendous for pushing each other.
There's a race team WhatsApp. There's I think there's around 50 people in it, and they're all actively racing every weekend, posting their times, and you're just seeing it. And obviously I'm like dead made up for all these people that are getting great times, but also just getting severe FOMO. Last weekend, we hosted 3 sessions at Red On. And on the second session, Mike and Isaac and some of the other coaches all took part, and they were absolutely sending it. I was like, I want to be a part of this. So I started running up and down to try and see if I could just get the knee warmed up and take part, and it pinged again straight away. Just can't tell ourselves no.
How long are you going to be out for?
So what was probably meant to be about 6 weeks, I spoke to the physio a couple of days ago, and he said, 3 to 4 months. I'm like, what? So I'm having an MRI next week, and look to have some injections, which will stabilize the fibula. Essentially, it's the hamstring tendon attached to the fibula. There's a nerve that goes over that, and it sends a shooting pain down my leg a little bit.
What are you doing to deal with that at the moment, mentally? Not just from a physical rehab point of view. That's the process is what it is. But what are you doing as someone that's, I guess, dedicated your life to being this professional athlete now? How are you coping with this mentally?
Well, the timing of it's really not great. I've always talked about my training and like continuity very openly with all my followers on Instagram and my YouTube about, you know, I've not got the greatest routine at the minute. I'm in the military. Some days I'm, you know, sleeping out in the area, or I'm in an old barn and I'm squeezing in training where I can. I then transition out of the military, and the second I have an element of routine in my life, I'm not able to properly exploit that because I've got an annoying injury that won't go away. And it's not like a fully, it's not a showstopper because I can still do a lot. I can do a lot of lifting. I can do biking to some degree. I just cannot do the most important thing, and that is run.
Which, like you've just been saying, the thing that's going to move the needle in terms of getting back into those sort of podium times is running.
Yeah.
Are you struggling with that mentally? Are you okay?
I probably wouldn't like openly say that I'm not thinking about it all the time, but it genuinely plays on my mind quite a lot, and it will affect my mood ever so slightly to the point where I might be frustrated at simple things. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but like I love training. I love just being able to put my trainers on and go for a run along the canal. It's not always about like beasting myself. I just like having that freedom of movement. I think kind of take it for granted a little bit when you're fully fit and you're fully healthy. And then you get a slight issue that is annoying and you can't stop thinking about it.
Wait, you lot let me know in the comments, and you can answer this as well, Danny. Like, when you're fit, I think you feel like you can do literally anything. Sign up for any race, any distance, whatever it is. And then when you're injured, at the moment, this year especially, I've been like, I'm never going to run again. I'm never going to run ever again, like properly. And I mean, do you get like that? Or are you a little bit more level-headed than I am with it?
I genuinely keep thinking, like, am I going to have this for the rest of my life? I was cycling with Gaz, one of the other Redder coaches this week, and he said he's had Achilles tendonitis for the last 3 years. I'm like, what? 3 years? So he has to really limit when he runs, and he has to do everything on the bike. But he's come to terms with that. But I won't come to terms with not being able to run most days of the week.
Do you know what makes me laugh is I spoke to a couple of mates about this last week, so I was thinking about it. One of the coaches at Urban Reform was saying he did the Backyard Ultra, actually. I think he got over 100 mile.
Nice.
Which I don't know where that ended up placing him. But he was saying he don't warm up. He don't like warming up. And I said, I thought this would be a brilliant dissertation for someone. Think about all the training that you do in the military. Think about the camp attacks that you get on exercise, 3 a.m. when you're in your DOS bag and you're asleep. And you do not get the opportunity to do a 15-minute dynamic warm-up with multiple stretches and blah, 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 blah. You're going to get attacked. You're going to get woke up from sleep. You need to put this Bergen on, and you might run for 8 to 10K through the woods at night. How many people do you know that ever pinged a car for a hamstring doing that?
Yeah.
And why? And like, you know, when lads are on patrol in Afghanistan and they get contacted, you go from walking, okay, that might be a little bit warm doing that, but you go from a walk, or sometimes, you know, you might get attacked in a platoon house. You go from doing nothing, being pretty static, to a full sprint under contact. Why was people not pinging hamstrings and calves left, right and centre? Anecdotally.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've never actually thought about that. That's so interesting. Why is that, do you think? Do you reckon it's like the adrenaline?
I think adrenaline's got to be a big part of it.
Yeah.
I also think, how many times did you know, clear stoppages and things like that, and afterwards you'll notice fingers is bleeding. I wonder if there's a lot of masking going on, and maybe you are pulling stuff a little bit, but you'd think it'd happen a lot more, don't you?
It's interesting, actually, because I remember when I was going back to selection in the jungle, we was doing a familiarization exercise, and the local Ibon tribe set the jungle up for training before you get there, and they chop down loads of trees, and it crosses straight over a re-entrant, so you can walk across it like a little mini bridge. And they've always got rope on them, but this one never had rope, and it was really slippy. And I fell off it, and it was over 5 meters. It was a big, big fall, and I was falling head first off this bridge. But there was a felled tree at the bottom of this re-entrant, which stopped me falling head first, basically. But I clattered my knee off of it, and it ballooned up big for about a day or two, and then sort of eventually wore off, soft tissue damage. And it was only after the jungle, probably 2 months after, that I actually realized I still had this pain in my knee. So yeah, I think there definitely is like an element of like masking pain when you need to. But
I'd love someone to do like, I don't know how you would conduct an actual study into that, but seeing like, you know, because people are fully sending it and not pulling stuff, but you go and do, if you went and did a warm-up, or went and did a HYROX tomorrow and didn't warm up, do you think you'd even get past the first lap?
Calf would go.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it? What does an uninjured week of training look like for you? How many hours are we doing?
So the most I've done is 15 hours since leaving. When I was in the military, I averaged 7. Sometimes it would be like 3 or 4. Sometimes it'd be 10. 15 hours of training, which is
that outside of unit PT?
That's my own stuff, and I didn't have to do unit PT because I was a PTI, so which was great. So let's say tomorrow I wake up, I've got no knee issues. My training would look like 3 strength sessions a week, 2 threshold running sessions a week, 1 HYROX specific session a week, 2 erg threshold sessions, so 1 ski, 1 row, and the rest of it is easy aerobic. Some people are doing 25, 30 hours, and they're getting the same quality sessions of like strength and HYROX, but they're padding the rest of that out with zone 2, so all the easy aerobic stuff. You know, there's people in this sport that are sitting on the rower for well over an hour, or they're going on the elliptical? Can't say it. For like 2 hours. Madness. People are putting in some crazy, crazy volume.
What does a HYROX specific session look? Is like a brick, half a HYROX sort of affair?
So a HYROX specific simulation style, so like trying to simulate race conditions. You could literally do the HYROX race from start to finish, and that could be your session. Or you can really dial it into, say, for what I'm doing at the minute, the sleds are a bit of a deal breaker at the minute. So hammering the sleds, a 4x15-minute AMRAP with a kilometre of running 50-metre sleds, a kilometre of running 50-metre sled pull, and doing that 15 times with 2 minutes rest in between each one, that kind of thing. That's just plucked off the top of my head, but that's what kind of some of the sessions look like.
And are you doing 7 days, or do you have specific rest in there as well?
7 days, but a day like today is just upper body focused and an easy bike. So, yeah, I'm not like resting, so to speak, but I'm not hammering myself. And I go easy, hard every day.
I actually don't know how many hours I'm doing. I'm not doing HYROX specific stuff. So I'll do like a 4 or 6 hour hike in the middle of the week as well, which is just hill work. I do like a Mantor loop or something like that. I don't know how many hours I'm doing. Might have
Do you have Strava?
Yeah.
Strava's the thing. It totals it all up.
Yeah, we'll do that actually. But I've been with this calf injury. I'm nowhere near it. But I'll have to work back. What are you doing right now? You're saying 15 hours?
That's when I'm fully fit, yeah. At the minute, I think I'm at 10 hours. I've still got 2 more. Well, I haven't trained today yet. And I've got Saturday and Sunday.
That's interesting. I'll ping it over to you and because I reckon I'm over 20 hours, I think. But there's some long hikes in there.
Right.
The intensity is not the same. Mm-hmm. I do 2 10Ks, which are, they're an hour and a half to 2 hours. So there's 3 to 4 hours in that, plus a 4 hour midweek 20, 30, 40K hike. And then Reform is an hour. Yeah, I'll total it up.
Do you do that every week, a 30 to 40K hike?
Yeah, or a bike, hike or bike.
Unreal.
I'm trying to do it. The camping patrol thing.
Yes.
Is fucking, there's no substitute for carrying weight, is there? So you just need time on your feet under load. But I'll either do that or, depending on the situation my calf is in, because like I said, I spent all year sort of rehabbing my calf.
Yeah.
If I'm not doing that, I'll do a bike. But the bike only takes about 2 hours to do that sort of distance. Mm-hmm. Mountain bike. I've got an Ironman book for next year, and I need to transfer it over to a road bike. I'm not looking forward to that because my ass can't handle being in a saddle for that sort of length of time.
We all joke about it at Red On. You've got to build some serious ass tolerance, haven't you, for that bike?
Pause. Yeah. Yeah, that's the... I've got... I feel I'll be okay on the bike.
Yeah.
I do want to get a big fat seat and fuck the regular little...
Yeah.
I'm not trying to win. I'm trying to just get through it.
Just
give me a big fat cushion to sit on. It's the swimming I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done open water swimming. Amy's a swimming instructor here, so we're going to get in the pool and I swim like a fucking pebble. So I'm not looking forward to that in the slightest, but it's only about 3.8K or something like that. It's not mental. No, that's the full in it. No, it's 1.9K. Do that.
Just get through it.
Yeah, be ready. What did your training look like for selection then? Smoke the hills the way you did.
Yes. So we had like a 3-week cycle, and it would be like 1 week of strength and conditioning, with like easy runs thrown in there. Then we'd go and do a week of like big, heavy lactate build up, lots of lunges and lots of stepper machine and hill work. And then we'd do a week of hills, so like really specific. And we did that for 9 weeks. So it was a 3-week cycles basically of what we done. And we just hammered the legs. Made lots of single leg work, made the legs really strong. And time on the feet as well. Like we'd go around the hills on our hill specific days. We wouldn't wear the weight all week. We'd stick light scales in there and probably go weighted for one of the days.
Was you over cooking the weight, or was you going under, or was you trying to hit the actuals?
We was probably carrying no more than 10 kilo. Like we didn't carry too much at all.
Really?
Yeah. So we always used to start our sort of hills phase with a trail run on the Monday. We do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a good 6.5 hours recceing different routes around Brecon with 10 kilos, if that. Just the essentials we needed to be on the hill to be safe.
Walking or trying to hit a pace?
Bit of both. Yeah. More just the time on the feet. And then on the Friday, we would go and do fully laden, and we tend to do the fan dance each Friday just because it was good fizz and you can get in the car and go home. Yeah, and that worked great for us.
Because I think that would be something that people can, like, obviously, apart from some of the HYROX stuff, like tangibly take away. People that are thinking about going doing selection, that there's loads of, and I think, you know, with your background and current role job, I think people would be really interested in, you know, what would you recommend on people trying to do a selection? You think 9 week? That's quite a short time, actually, isn't it, to prep for it?
Yeah, I think it honestly depends on different sort of units. Like my regiment will quite happily give people time off to go and train. I know in the Marines it's much more cutthroat than that. If you go on selection, it's discretional. You go and train in your own time, so to speak.
Yeah, I know Parachute Regiment literally take you off everything, and they have like their own sort of internal cadre, which sounds amazing for the prep that they get for it. And I think they fucking blitz it, to be honest. I think they're so prepared for it.
Yeah.
What sort of distances are we talking about? So 6 hours, it's got to be 30, 40K, hasn't it?
The marches are...
Training, don't give the training that you're doing.
Yeah. The training are between sort of like 22 kilometers to 30 kilometers, I think, each route, roughly. And you sort of take them slow time of really recce different options. Some like the rubbish options, the good options, and that's really what you're spending your time doing. And just actually being on your feet for that long was what we found was really key.
How did you fare on the long drag? That's 64 kilometers, right? I've never done anything that sort of distance. Yeah,
that was like a bit of a roller coaster, actually, because you start it, you're all quite excited. It's the last thing you've done on the midnight, and I decided to sort of lone wolf it and go alone. And when the sun comes up, it's the hardest bit. That's where sort of the fatigue hits you. Like you're just so tired, you just want to get to the end, but you're nowhere near the end. And then I decided to stop jacking on myself and actually join a group of people to go around as a group for the day. It actually was all right.
What's the time for that? Is it
20 hours?
I was going to say, I thought it was 20 hours.
Yeah.
You're coming in about 20 hours as well.
I came in at 19, and you get we took a lot of time. We'd do a couple of K, sit down, have 5-10 minutes, and go again. Just took it steady as a group. Much better than trying to lone wolf it. I think if I was to go back and do it now, I don't know what I would do. But some people go out to try and win it. I know people that have done it like 13 hours.
No, they can go.
Yeah.
What was the nav like on there? Was the nav hard or was it straightforward?
I would say on a clear summer's day, it's really straightforward. And especially on test week, I found test week the easiest week of aptitude. I found the hardest week, the second week, the lodestone week. I don't know if it's all still called that now. The routes seem to be a bit more challenging. There's an area in Wales, it's called the Black Mountain. So you've got the Black Mountains and the Black Mountain. The Black Mountain is always claggy. Doesn't matter if it's a warm summer's day, it always seems to be the visibility is like less than 200 meters.
I've never seen the valley from the top of Brecon. I've only ever seen 10-meter visibility.
Really?
Never seen it clear.
On a clear day, the nav is so straightforward. You can just see a Bergen train of orange Bergens.
I bet that's quite easy to be able to go and catch up to and pace yourself with, isn't it? When you can see people in front of you.
Yeah.
I've never seen more than 10 meters, and even when you get to the first sort of summit before you go across over to Pennyfan's top, not even knowing which direction to go off the top of that one because of where it is.
Yeah.
The fan dance itself, actually, it's got a mad reputation, hasn't it? And it's hard, obviously. I think the hardest thing about it is the terrain on what's meant to be the easy part. So as you come off the fan and you go around to the turnaround point, that long sort of drag, it's the worst terrain on earth, isn't it? Because you can't go fast.
Oh, the Roman road.
Yeah.
So on the way out to the turnaround point, you have to run from Cribben all the way down the Roman road if you wanna pass it. But then when you come back the way, it's the most awkward incline because it's not exactly like flat, but it's not too bad uphill.
I think it's easier to run from the turnaround back,
really,
than down. I don't know why. I find it a really nice incline. It is an incline. It's a hell of an incline.
Yeah, it's like long and gradual, isn't it? So I bomb it down the downhill way. I've took a tumble twice on that. Yeah, I can just see teeth getting smashed in on that because you can't even go straight. I reckon that you're doing as much sideways as you are forward, trying to dodge. For those that have not been, it's called Roman Road because there's a lot of like huge pebbles, brick. It's weird. It's an actual old Roman road, Yeah.
It's it reminds me of like a dried up riverbed.
Yes.
Like where there's so much just it is not a nice path.
Trip hazards everywhere. There are
Horrific.
like sharp rocks pointing up everywhere. Yeah.
And I find it easier. I don't know, maybe it's the angle of my foot. I just find it easier to go faster on the way back than on the way there.
Oh, weird. Interesting.
The only bit that you get is that's nice underfoot throughout the entire thing is from the end of Roman Road, you got that little stream that you cross and pop back up again.
Yeah.
There's grass for about 300 meters. It's the only part that feels nice under your foot. Yeah. Everything else is horrendous.
Yeah.
What sort of time do you finish that in?
My quickest is 3. Was it 3:17 or 3:23? But that was not on selection. On selection, it's way off of that
Because of the fatigue.
Yeah, and you don't know what time you get because you haven't got a watch on. But you can kind of like gauge it. But I think more often than not, you're pretty close to the wire. To be fair.
Yeah, speaking to one of the 3 Dark boys actually about when they did it, and they said they came in, I think at 3:40 something, and it was like, and I was flying round. Yeah, like, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's very, very close to the cutoff time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 4 hours. Yeah, you definitely don't do as well as what you do when you're doing it in training. It does creep up on you that week. It's such a long week.
I spoke a lot there about military, about your sort of philosophy around training. HYROX is weird because it's an individual sport. Obviously, you do it in a pair, but I guess your training is still quite individualistic. No one's pushing you, are they? Even if you've got a coach and even if you've got a partner. Talk me through a little bit on the discipline side of things and if and how the army sort of shaped that.
Yeah, I always tell people that discipline is the most important thing. Obviously, seems like a really obvious thing to say, but sometimes I go through periods of being really like highly motivated, and the discipline's not really too relevant because the motivation is what is dragging me into the gym, not dragging me into the gym. But that's why I'm going to the gym and training so actively. Then I go through periods of motivation is quite low. At the minute, I'll be open, my motivation is a little bit low because I've got this injury, but I'm still going to the gym because I'm disciplined. Probably say that is definitely like bred from being in the military, because you do a lot of things that you don't really want to do, but you have to do. It's the right thing to do. I think that's the important bit is you need to do it. So yeah, I'd say that's the key part of what I'd learned from being in the military.
I got a lot of people say, where do I find motivation? And I think very similar to yourself, the motivation ebbs and flows like a tide. And I think sometimes it's the discipline that keeps you turning up every single day. And you can have a shit session. My wife has this great saying, which is, you just got to turn up. You can turn up to the gym and leave, but you have to turn up. Because once you're there, that's the hardest part, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you've got your shoes on, once you're in the gym, you're not going to just... But the rule that she's got is you're allowed to go in and leave, but you never will. And I think that's a great little trick. Like, you can go and turn up and but you have to walk through the door, and then you can go home if you want. And when I've not wanted to go, I've never turned up and just gone home.
You just walked off.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That's such a good solid bit of advice as well. And you also would never regret that session either. Even when you didn't want to go, you've just turned up, you've done the session, you probably left feeling 10 times better than what you did walking in. It's another thing I always have to remember.
Do you have sessions where you, and I don't know if this is a military thing as well, whereas sometimes you don't feel as strong, you don't feel as fit, and you want to only do 8 reps instead of 10, or you might have planned to do a 20K and you go, I'm just going to fuck it off at 10. Do you have sessions like that?
100%. And you know what it is? I'm really okay with some of those sessions. I've been in the gym before. I know when I'm not feeling it, and I'm like, I'm just going to call it here. And you always think to yourself, like, am I doing the right or wrong thing here? Am I just bitching out, so to speak? But you know that you're making the right call. You know your own body.
Where, because we all have a little Goggins in our head that's calling you every fucking derogatory term under the sun when you think like that. Where do you live with that? Obviously, with the level of fitness that you've got, are you actually okay with that? Do you know that's the right thing, or is there doubt in your mind still? Do you wrestle with that?
I think I'm actually all right with it. It happened to me just a few weeks ago. I was really trying to dial in the nutrition, making sure I was fueling correctly, but also trying to lose a bit of weight because I wanted to be in race shape. And I got to like a Thursday or a Friday in the week, and I just felt so depleted. And I had a session penciled in, but I didn't do it. I went and had a big refeed, got myself fueled up, and the next day I felt amazing. So I've done this a couple of times where that's happened. So I'm all right with, if I know that I need to have a rest or I'm not up to that session. I've been mid-session as well, like 10, 20 minutes in, I get out of the warm-up. I'm like, I'm just not firing. You know, I've missed the mark somewhere. There's probably some neuromuscular stuff going on and maybe a little bit stressed. I've just not eaten enough. So I stop and then I revisit it.
Is fueling more of a concern for yourself than losing weight when you're training?
Oh, yeah, it's a good question. It's a proper fine balance, that one, I find, for me. I'm just adamant that I've got like my own anatomy. As soon as I eat something, I feel it straight away. That's such a mad thing. But like, say I go for a few beers. I'm going for a few beers tomorrow with my brother-in-law. I will feel those beers for about 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
And it's been like that to the point, not so much now because I know that fueling is really important, but it's been like that in the past where I've gone into a race completely underfueled because I think the most important thing for me is to be lighter, so not have as much water weight. As soon as I put a carb in, it's like my body hold on to that water, like we all do. That's just science. But for me, I'm just adamant it happens to me even more. I went on my stag do to Benidorm once, 82.5 kilo, came back 3 days later, 87.5 kilo, like 5 kilos. So then I just went for a period of like being really holding back on the fuel. I know it's the most important part. Obviously, I want to be fast, I want to be light, I want to be lean. But if you get into the start line underfueled, you failed straight away.
I've lost a ton of weight in the last year, and I'm trying to send it quite hard in the gym, and I'm struggling with the balance of eating enough to go for it. And the last few weeks while I've been injured, I had fucking pizza last night out of Domino's. I'm a little bit more lax on it, but I think I do really tread the balance between fueling and nutrition and still trying to lean out a little bit. I'm booked on for the Manchester Marathon. I'd like to be about 10, 15 pounds, maybe 10, 12 pounds lighter before I do it, because I'm thinking, I'm over 200 pounds. I think if I was more like 186, 187, not sure what that is in kg, that would be more efficient, less impact on the calf, and easier for me to run a marathon at that sort of weight than the weight I'm at now. And I struggle with the, being fueled up enough. Like, what's your sort of race day strategy look like? Are you trying to hit 3,000, 4,000 calories prior to it or on the day? I mean, I watched your vlog from, it was Hamburg, the last one you did.
Yes.
I watched your vlog from Hamburg and clocking what you're eating. You're not eating loads, but you are eating.
So, when I go back to that point I made about trying to hit the start line nice and light, but also try and feel fueled, I really got it wrong that day. And as soon as we started that race, I just felt quite depleted after about 20 minutes. I hadn't had enough carbs.
You're like 30 odd HYROX in as well, still making mistakes.
I'm always learning something new. And I think I'd raced 2 weeks before that. I didn't feel very fast. I wanted to feel fast. And yeah, I'm constantly like learning different things along the way. And I put myself into a deficit for 2 weeks before that race. And then I thought I can refuel up the day before. So I did a lot of eating on the Friday, and on the Saturday, I just felt like I was just topping up those carbs. But I think the 2 weeks before that probably knocked me a little bit more than what I'd realized. The best race I ever done was in Cardiff, and it's all about the macro content which I was honing in on. So just making sure I was getting some really good solid carbs on board. I had a nutritionist at the time, and he would send me a meal plan, and I would follow that to the letter. And then you get to the point where you feel like you graduate and you know more, you know everything you need to know, and you take things yourself. But it depends when I'm racing, to answer your question. If I'm racing in the morning, that's why I'm having things like smoothies and simple carbs. If I'm racing in the evening, that's where I need to have the more complex stuff. So oats and pastas and whatnot.
Yeah, that can make a huge difference, I guess, can't it? Though you haven't got the same race time every single time that you're racing.
Yeah.
What was it that you did right in Cardiff that you think you got wrong then, apart from that 2 week window prior?
So,
or was it just that?
When I race early in the morning, I'm having things like smoothies and rice cakes and honey and stuff that's easy to digest. I was doing that in the lead up to my race in Hamburg, when I had a full day of eating that I could have done and my body could have processed that food, but I was having simple carbs as opposed to complex stuff. When I raced in Cardiff back in May and I ran my PB and I felt fantastic, I was just eating proper food and good food. And then I started to have the simple stuff as we got close to the race. And I think I must have had about a good 36 hours of just focusing on carbs, small amount of protein, and just really hammered the carbs.
What does that look like in terms of meals?
My ritual every day before a race is Nando's. And I'll get a bit of protein, I'll get a double wrap. And then I'm having mash, I'm having fries, I'm having sweet potato fries, I'm having mac and cheese. And that works for me. I do that every single time. And then in the morning, let's say I'm racing in the evening, in the morning I'm having oats. And then at lunch, I'm having some kind of pasta-based dish or rice. And then I'm having things like bananas and honey. Tortilla with a banana and honey. And as we get close, we're talking like 2 hours, I'll top it up a bit more. I'll have a rice cake. And then I'll have a gel like half an hour before.
Are you taking gels on the way around, or are you just...
I do, and I don't think I need to because I'm only really racing for an hour. But for me, I'm a salty sweater. I lose a lot of salts from a sweat, so I have a gel purely just to top up electrolytes and just to try and combat a bit of dry mouth, to be honest.
The dry mouth thing, no one told me about this with HYROX, but that's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it the environment, the air conditioning, maybe?
I think it is the aircon and just being indoors. But having said that, I raced outdoors in Berlin once and I got dry mouth there. I just think it's a HYROXism.
Mad, ain't it? Because like I clocked it on my first after the first station. So I've done one lap, and I've only walked it as well. I've done one lap. I've done the ski erg, and then I was like my mouth feels really, really dry.
Yeah,
and I drink these constantly. Like I am not dehydrated. I'm constantly drinking, and I'm like, the fuck is going on? And then as I finished, like I clocked a few people mentioning it, and I saw some people in the Unreformed group mention it. I was like, wait, is this a thing? This is a thing, right?
Yeah.
So it's a thing.
Oh, 100%. You do kind of get used to it though, I think, in a way. Like I remember when I first used to race, I was like, this dry mouth situation needs to stop. And it's now kind of like, you just know it's going to come, and that's why I get a bit of gel in there.
All right, so you got a good few months by the sounds of things before you're going to be, fit, I guess. Have you got a mental timeline for when you're thinking you're going to be sort of chipping away at those times? Because I imagine your first couple of races back, you're not going to.
Yeah. I'm actually meant to race next weekend in Bordeaux. I pulled out this morning. I'm also meant to race in London next month, but at the minute I'm quite tentative about that.
I've not cancelled mine
yet. If I go and race, I know what my ceiling is at the minute because it's all on the running ability. And my ceiling is probably where my PB is. And noting that there's maybe a bit of race rust in there and courses can be different. And probably anywhere between a 60-minute and a 57-minute. I just don't know yet. And I think the most realistic thing is me probably waiting this side of Christmas and building back up and then coming back sort of March next year around Glasgow and Katowice, the Polish race. I am racing in Manchester, maybe use that as a bit of a build-up. But I think really honing on some rehab, honing on the running, and then the times will come.
Would you going putting in a bad time affect your sort of standing as an Elite 15?
No. So your standing lasts for 12 months.
So it's like once you qualify, that's you for 12 months?
Yeah, like some people raced in Stuttgart a couple of weeks ago and ran a 54, and then last night they ran a 55, but their average is still where it is because they've got the two times. So I could go and run a 1 hour 5 next week. It won't affect my place in the rankings. I say in the rankings, I'm not in the top 40 anymore, but my average time.
So what do you need to do to maintain that? Because I guess to maintain your status as pro, you're going to have sponsorship, things like that. You kind of need to be in that Elite 15 every year for the foreseeable future.
I need to be showing marked growth and progress 100%. Otherwise, brands will be less inclined to be interested in my fitness journey. And I absolutely will do that. So yeah, there's a bit of pressure, definitely. That's another thing, probably why it plays in my mind a lot as I'm watching everyone else get better, and I'm sort of there slipping down the rankings because I've not been able to race. But my average time at the minute where it is will last until around February, and then I'll lose my time that I got in February. It lasts 12 months, so then I'll need to race again to bring it down.
Are you paid by HYROX to be in the Elite 15, or is it purely on the external sponsorships that you get?
Everyone gets paid. I say everyone. People that are able to tie down their sponsorships get paid by the brands. HYROX will only pay athletes for finishing on podium spots at the elite majors and at the elite world champs. They don't pay anyone outside of that.
So that's pressure as well.
Yeah. So your athletes are paid by their full-time jobs if they've got them, or by their brand sponsors, and of which some brands will sponsor an athlete for 12 months. And come 12 months time, if I'm nowhere to be seen in the rankings and I'm, not showing any marked improvement, then things like that get cut.
So how much of that takes up mental headspace for you?
I'm quite confident in my own ability. I don't think it'll ever come to that. I think what I've shown over the last 2 years doing HYROX, we know what it's like to be in the military and how hard it is to build any routine and continuity. And I was running really fast times on not a great deal of training compared to everybody else. When I'm able to match that same training volume and really dial in everything, not just the training, I can dial in nutrition and recovery. I'm adamant that I can get back to where I need to be and get, for a start, on the cusp of the Elite 15 and then start to push for that Elite 15.
I was going to wrap up and stay in this vein, but there's a question that I've been meaning to ask for the entire thing. When you was unit PTI,
yeah,
was you doing the HYROX to the level you was, or was you already in different roles past? Had you moved on beyond being a PTI from then?
So was I doing HYROX whilst being a PTI?
Yeah, or had you moved into another role?
So I only did the PTI stuff on the side of my actual day job. I qualified all arms PTI back in 2015, and it would only take up like an hour of my day. I'd come in the morning, take the session for the squadron.
Oh, so you wasn't posted to the gym?
No.
Oh, different.
Yeah, so I was just straight up light dragoon, recce soldier. I had my own troop sergeant, but then I would go and take the PT for the squadron in the morning, and then go back to my office to, write reports or whatever.
That's different. That's different for a lot of units, actually, isn't it? Because that's a permanent posting for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say, was you doing HYROX as well as being PTI then? Or is posting that you've just finished is where you've been your HYROX athlete?
Yeah. So I actually was at my regiment when I started doing HYROX. We got deployed on ops within about 2 months of me actually properly doing it and training for it. And then I had to train. I was away on ops and I couldn't run. There was no treadmill. There was nothing like that. I was training in an old barn at like -5, freezing cold in the Baltics. And then I had 4 months, pretty much like a training camp, really. Had the most routine I ever had. Came back from ops. And then that's when I started to put myself sort of in the HYROX space. I ran a 58 Pro in Berlin. And then I shortly after got my job in Warminster.
Yeah, I was going to say, so the lads have never really seen you as unit PTI / HYROX Pro. So I was going to say, it could go either way. They either love doing PT with you or absolutely hate any time that you had to do PT with them.
I've definitely had people come and take part in sessions before, just because they're sort of kind of interested. There's a lot of people that I used to train with, years ago. They'd absolutely smoke me on PT. They'd smash me. Obviously, it's slightly different.
This is why I think the military needs to fully fuck this Premier League sponsorship off and just go all in. Like you said, have stands at every single HYROX up and down the country and sponsor their own event, because the Army and let's be honest, the Marines and that as well would absolutely kill it if they had their own and use it for a recruitment tool. It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Sorry.
No, go on, Karen.
I would say, yeah, there's some absolute, machines in the Army. I think one guy left the Army to go. He said, I'm leaving the Army because you won't support me in ultramarathon, and I'm going to go and be an ultramarathon world champion. A few years down the line, wins the UTMB. Guy called Tom Evans, world champion. There's definitely people like that in the military, 100%.
Yeah, and they should be pushing that to the nth degree. So, flipping back and sorry, I had to ask that question.
Yeah.
So it was burning my head, going like, what's the lads think about you doing this?
Yeah.
There's always someone that does something a little bit different. Like we had a bit of an Olympic weightlifter, and all the sessions suddenly include barbells. You're like, Not sure this is in any booklet that we have to do. So with the obviously the financial pressure of being a pro athlete in a sport, is that where the idea to come and do content came?
So the content stuff actually happened as I started doing HYROX. And it was for no one else other than myself, really. I've done things over the years to give me a bit of accountability. Download Strava. You then train because people are looking at your Strava.
I don't let anyone follow me.
Or get a new pair of running shoes. That always gives me an extra kick because you want to go and try them out. So I started an Instagram page to document all of my training for HYROX because I had never properly really trained for anything apart from selection. Other than that, I was just finding a workout off of Instagram, Grizz or something like that, and just ending myself in the gym and being written off for a few days. I never properly really trained and knuckled down until I discovered HYROX. So that's why I made the Instagram. And when I came back from ops, you save a little bit of money. I then started to reinvest it by filming more professional content. And of course, my wife's big and my wife's sister is even bigger. So there's already a lot of exposure there. So I was just kind of doing what I would do for myself anyway. And it just started to gain a little bit of traction. So that ultimately gave me a bit of confidence about life outside of the army, and it's what I spend a lot of time doing now. But I would say what gives me the most stability will be what we're doing with Red On and what we're building there.
Yeah, no doubt. How are you filming with content? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't mind this because I can forget that those cameras are there. I filmed myself walking to the office this morning for my morning walk video, and I am so mad self-conscious when doing it. How do you deal with that?
I used to find it horrendous. I couldn't do it. I couldn't even talk to myself to a camera sat in my own car, but now I can whip out the GoPro walking down the street. That's taken ages to get to that point, to be fair. But yeah, I prefer it in a setting like this. I don't really mind it too much, but it is a weird feeling. I don't think you can really explain it, can you? You just got to tell someone to just try it. Pull your camera out, try and talk to it, and just tell them how your day went and see how weird it feels.
Yeah, I do. I don't know if I chose to do my morning walks in the countryside because that's where I do my morning walks, or if I chose to do it because I rarely see people on those walks.
Yeah.
It's not the first one I've done. I've done a couple. I've been in London a few times recently, so I've done my morning walks in London where there's a gazillion people. But this is the first one this morning that I've done walking to work, and I'm obviously more known for football content.
Yeah.
I walked past the building site and had a builder shout United at me as I was walking past, and I was like, I don't know how to take that, to be honest. It's positive, I guess, but it's still mad self-conscious whenever I'm filming. I've been doing this nearly 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I'm still really, really self-conscious about filming. It takes a minute, doesn't it? Especially, I think, coming from the military and especially coming from, thinking about when you was going selection, that's the biggest no-no ever, I imagine.
Yeah. It's such a weird concept as well, especially when I first joined in the military, people started to dabble in this kind of thing. It was a little bit unheard of, but now there's a lot of people that are, they've got a social footprint. It's more normal now, and it's more accepted, so to speak. But it's probably quite weird for you if you're obviously really well known around here. It probably feels quite strange. I know it's the same for my wife and her sister. They find it weird because although everyone knows who they are, to film in public is such a strange concept, and everyone's watching them film themselves in public. Whereas for myself, I don't feel like anyone has a clue who I am. I'm just talking to my camera walking down the road.
But you're doing quite well with it, I think, at the moment anyway. So, Danny, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
I wish you all the luck with the rehab, and I'll see you in Manchester, I guess, for HYROX in Manchester.
100%.
I'll be the one at the back, in case you was wondering. You won't be in the Open, will you? You'll be in a different thing.
I'm going to do a couple of races. I'm doing the Pro, and then likely a couple of doubles as well.
Did they do the Pro at the same time as the Open?
No, Pro is always in the evening. Open's normally first thing in the morning.
Got you. All right, cool. Yeah, because I was going to say, because obviously I've only done one. When I was doing Birmingham, there was loads of different weights all over the place and different sandbags. So I was like, oh, did they do them together? I guess, maybe not. Right, Danny, thank you very much. Let people know where they can come and find you and see more of your stuff.
So on Instagram, I'm Danny Rae Hybrid, and I'm also the same on YouTube, and I post actively on both of those platforms.
I found myself watching your little trip to Portugal and can't explain how I found it really, really, really engaging.
Really?
Yeah.
That's mad when people say that, because I watch these back and I edit and I'm like, no one's going to enjoy this. I am proper boring the life out of people right now. But then some people say, "Oh, it's watchable." I think it's just. Well, I appreciate that anyway, and hopefully I can make more engaging, watchable stuff.
Right, Danny, thank you.
Thank you very much.